it can be a frustrating match. I mean, some of those games probably felt he could have extracted more.
Yeah, and Magnus holds himself to a high standard, and I'm really excited that maybe we're going to see more and more of this, but this is Denis Lazavik, CATALAN, a system, and an opening that he is truly becoming one of the world leaders at this opening. Eric, he plays it all the time, and it's something he feels completely confident in.
He plays it all the time, and you kind of wonder how you pick your openings. Well, you've seen his style, I think, through this 5-minute portion, what he's strong at. CATALAN, positional, lots of pieces, solid. It suits his style very well, and he's had world-class results.
Yeah, the first thing that I was going to draw attention to is exactly this. How about c5 and knight c3 directly going for that a4 pawn, and bishop d7 very quickly, reminding white that there are some tactics in the position to sort of defend that a4 pawn indirectly.
And Magnus is going to have to figure out how to open up those bishops on d7, e7. Right now, white enjoys just a healthy space advantage, which is all you can ask for coming out of the opening.
Yeah, I'm immediately looking at a move like, first of all, in this case, maybe black wants to play knight h5, which is sometimes a move you play just to kick the bishop, and then you even retreat the knight. But from white's perspective, I'm also looking at rook to d1 and starting to ask myself, would that actually prepare knight takes a4, just as a way to perhaps win that a4 pawn, defending the d pawn with the rook?
You can, yeah, bishop d2, keeping the bishop, and f5. A very common idea, the knight on h5 will circle back to f6, maybe find a better square on e4. At the same time, it does weaken the dark squares a little bit, especially this e5 square, which is critical.
Yep, and this makes sense because there's really not much for black on the queen side. It's all about the center. Can you achieve the move e5? Looks very difficult. So instead, we see f5. It's going to be difficult for white to play f3 and control the e4 square. So knight takes a4. I mean, knight takes d4 was what I thought we were going to get there, Eric. But the e6 pawn a little bit loose, right?
Yeah, and Magnus played g5 right away. I love it. This is going to be an exciting game.
Absolutely.
White's up a pawn, but Denis's knight, it's going to take a little bit to get back in the game, and there's a bunch of space being gained by Magnus on the king side.
So this, in some ways, is probably a little bit more of the position that that you'd like to have with white, where you've got f4, you've got e5 controlled. Once again, a battle of color complexes here. Black owns the e4 square, but that e6 pawn and the dark squares are a little bit weak. Plus, of course, you got those pawns on the queen side, Eric, that are moving up the board very quickly.
Yeah, I like white's position. The good thing for Magnus is by pushing the pawn on g4, it means when you place the knight on e4, you're blocking the e-file, and at least the e6 weakness is covered. Problem is, as you just alluded to, the queen side pushes, and this bishop on g2, are you looking to trade on e4? No. I want to play b5. Maybe in some positions, the bishop goes to f1 to assist a queen side assault.
Yep. And how confident are you going all in on the queen side? Like if you play rook f to b1, in this case we see rook a to b1, because I thought it might be an overcommitment to bring the other rook over. Look at that, h5. You know, if you start going for that b5 push, suddenly h5 is scary. And we all know, Eric, if you're attacking on both sides of the board, it's much scarier when someone's attacking your king.
Definitely. And I think with how pushing the queen side, but the way pawns have, you see them here on a5 and b4, they're stuck here, and right now it feels like Magnus has all the time in the world to set up something on the king side.
Yeah, and we can see here, d takes on e4. It's all light squared pawns, dark squared bishops on the board. It looks like this is slowly favoring Magnus in this position as the pawns are all fixed on dark squares. You see that dark square bishop on f4. So looking at the position visually in terms of the color complexes, Eric, I'm liking what's happened for black. Really
like what's happened for black. It's a sharp position. Denis thrives in positions with a lot of control. Feels like he's losing a bit of control here with the h-file opening up. And even when you look at moves like rook b1 preparing b5, well, the position's different. Now white has to worry about getting checkmated. So you can't play moves like b5 as easily. You have to really watch out.
Yep,
the h-file is about to open up.
This is scary, and the move played instantly, rook d1. You have to guard that pawn. Bishop e5 is no longer possible. It feels like an achievement a little bit to get queen g7, and now bishop to e5 is really difficult to get.
It's a huge achievement. I mean, even b5 you can't play, a5 is loose. Where is white's counterplay? Black is ready to open up on the h-file by taking on g3. The moves are easy to play. You're already seeing a big time difference. And
I think at this point, after taking on g3, now we're going to see things double, perhaps triple even, on the h-file. You're looking at moves like swinging the rook from a8 all the way over to h8. The queen, although it's just moved to d7, that was to defend the e6 pawn, and at any point, that queen can slide back over to h7, but no, queen d5, and this will undouble the pawns if it's captured. So queen takes d5, look at that, e takes d5. There's a lot of pressure in this position, and most importantly, pawn from f5 can now, in some cases, move forward to f4, so there's a lot to watch out for. That bishop on g3, Eric, could be trapped soon.
yeah, king g5 supporting f4. You can't afford to have your bishop trapped. But moves like bishop d6 push f4 anyways.
Yep.
And Magnus is going for checkmate.
Yeah, you don't even care what happens on the queen side at all at this point. The rook can slide over to h8, f4, even f4 with f3 coming soon. This looks difficult, and you're going to have to run your king.
Yeah, I think f4 played first. It disconnects this bishop from defending h2. Then you can swing the rook over. Taking on d4, not a problem. It's just everything looks good for black here.
Yeah, what's the calculation? E3 was played obviously very decisive. Magnus spent some time, invested, he wanted to play this variation. Here comes f4, disconnecting that bishop that you mentioned from the h2 pawn.
I think black is going for a mating net, arguing if you take on b7, it's going to be some issues.
Yeah, what happens if you dub? I think, are we... Okay, he doesn't double the rooks. I thought that f3 you wanted to wait for.
I agree.
Because now the bishop's covering h2, so that's interesting. He's gone for it right away.
Magnus has this other win condition. Bring the king to e4, maybe push the d pawn, and you've split past pawns. And problem for white, you can't take on b7. Your back rank is weak. You ever take on b7, a5 falls, and then a1, there's mating threats.
That's a great point. There's no way to capture b7 without the other pawn falling. Look at the breakthrough. Now you finally take on c5. You have to probably drop that rook back, and no, he allows rook c1. That will be a win for Magnus Carlsen. Great technique, Eric.